Okay, page 2 of the practice test. Question 4, we want to find the slope of a line that goes through these 2 points. Now the first thing I'll check out is what's happening with the answers. One thing I'll notice from the answers is that, well, we've all got single numbers. There's no x's or anything attached to them. And there's no decimals either. They're either fractions or whole numbers. Okay, I'll keep that in mind as I'm finding my solution to the slope, that I don't want decimals. According to our choices here, there's mostly fractions and then one possible whole number. Okay, so now I know the formula for the slope of a line is slope is the difference in y values divided by the difference in x values. Now I just need to decide which of these is x1 and y1. I'll just pick the first ones. And then the other ones will be x2 and y2. I will substitute that in here. So I've got y2 is 0 minus, and then what's y1? 2 over x2 is -3 minus x1 is 4. Now 0 minus 2 makes -2. -3 minus 4 more. If you're a little confused with the negatives, do it in the calculator. But I would know that if I lost 3 and lost 4 more, I've lost 7. Now the last thing we have to do, you can probably see from the list now which one it's going to be, right? But the last thing I would do to solve this, if it wasn't a multiple choice, would be to change those 2 negative signs into a single positive. So I've got the slope is positive 2 over 7. That is available in our list. Question 4 is done. Now on to question 5. Find angle theta shown in this figure. Angle theta is right here. The only other piece of information we know is the 120. Oh, I forgot to include here, and yours shows this, that these are 2 parallel lines. Now, there's a number of different ways we can approach these parallel line problems, as you've noticed. One thing that I do know about this is the first thing I see in this is an F pattern. Remember the F pattern? That means this angle and this one, the ones in the little corners of the F, are equal. So that means right here is 120 degrees. Now that doesn't answer our question yet. That doesn't tell us what angle theta is. However, one other thing I know about angles is that the angles that make a straight line, if 2 angles make a straight line, they must add to 180. So what that means here is 120 plus this angle theta must equal 180 degrees. So angle theta will be 180 degrees minus 120. Angle theta will be 60 degrees. Here we are, 60's on our list. Excellent. On to question 6. We've got a graph here. Mine is pretty rustic. Yours will be a little neater. But you'll see we want to know that blue line is which of those options there. Is it A, B, C, D, or E? Now, we've got of our possible options, x is greater than or equal to 1, greater than or equal to -1, less than or equal to 1, or less than or equal to -1. Well, first of all, I see that the dot is at +1. -1 would be here. The dot's not up here, the dot is here. So that means we're talking about a +1 here. So I can eliminate these 2 guys right away. If either of those were true, the dot would be here. Now, the open dot, as you may recall, it means that we have one of these, either greater than or less than, not greater than or equal to and less than or equal to. These ones are symbolized by a closed dot because that means that in this situation it's including the number as well. So if we were going to have less than or equal to 1, I would have to have a closed dot. Same with greater than or equal to 1. Here we've got an open dot. So this is actually none of the above. Now, question 7. Rearranging a basic formula for y. Let's, as we do in multiple choice questions, always check out the answers first. So in our different answers, one thing I noticed is all of them have y alone. That's what we're trying to do. Rearranging a formula for y, what that actually means is get y alone. It doesn't matter if you arrange them so that y is on the right side of the equals like they are here, or if y was on the left side. It wouldn't matter as long as you could turn it around to make these. All right, let's see if we can get y alone. I'll rewrite our formula here. X over y equals z. Now when we have what we want to get isolated in the downstairs, we either have to do 2 steps or one kind of fancy finagling. I prefer to do it in 2 steps so that we don't get confused. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to deal with any overall denominators first, and change that divided by y to times y over here. So what that leaves me with is x equals z times y. If you've written that as yz, even better, because they're typically supposed to be in alphabetical order. Now, once we've got that there, I still want to remember our mission to get y alone. What's stuck to y right now? This multiply by z. I'm going to change multiply by z to divide by z over here. And then y will be alone. Are any of my options x over z equals y? Yes. Excellent.